Hello everyone. Today I had to record this video today because once I realized this, it all made sense. And to be entirely transparent with you, this is something that I've noticed through years of my life, years, happening and occurring, and I couldn't figure it out. Like it couldn't click in my mind. So today I had to make this video to really show to you what this really means, and I hope that most of you will have this realization. Because let me give you an example. If you are dealing with just distractions, right? Like, I don't know, some of you could be watching TV shows, YouTube videos, video games, scrolling on Instagram, and you guys are having a hard time focusing on working hard. I'm gonna tell you why that's occurring right now, okay? And it's not gonna be like one of those videos that you always watch that are this and that. No, this is like a study. This is like deep information. And if you're not going to pay attention to this, then I feel really bad for you because you're going to miss out on a lot. You're going to miss out on a lot of details that really are going to allow you to really grow within yourself and your business and your life and really allow for you to get to where you want to be. So this is going to be very important, okay? Do not skip this video because I'm telling you, it took me years and years to realize this as a like I never realized it up until now. And once I did, I had to make a video on it instantly because it's just too valuable to not put out there. Okay. And yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. I used some real examples, and it's probably gonna be painful for you to hear these things. So most of you that are gonna hear this realize that this might be a little bit painful to hear. Okay. And I want to remind you that pain is good. Most of the pain, right, is going to give you success. So I'll walk through this with you. So if your business is right now not thriving to the way that you want it to be, if you're running now struggling dealing with distractions and you can't just focus on one thing for a prolonged period of time, having a hard time with focusing, um, so on and so forth, or you might have a hard time with winning. This is going to be that one video that's going to show you what you need to do. Okay. So most people have a comfort addiction. Okay. And we're going to get to two parts, the comfort and the dopamine. So those that have a comfort addiction, I want you to know comfort is a silent killer. And successful businesses thrive in pain and not comfort. Essentially, some people even say this is like if you're not going through pain in your business, if your business isn't going through tough shit, then that means that your business isn't getting better because business is almost like a muscle, right? You have to rip it in order for it to get better, right? So same thing in business. So, and I want you to know if you have a business, we are in a business of pain and discomfort. We will never be able to replace a business that is growing and we are comfortable in with TV shows and YouTube videos. Okay? Because, I'm telling you, business is very painful. It is not easy. And most people are always getting stuck in that dopamine trap. We know that when shit hits the fan, we fall into YouTube and, for others, could be video games because it just hurts. It's not easy, right? It's very uncomfortable. We have to make uncertain decisions that we are not always confident about. Okay? And comfort comes from running away from pain, and your mind is always wired to comfort. So you most likely won't think of a different way. Like most of you are like, oh, once I have a successful business, I might be watching YouTube TV shows and I'll be lazy. I'm telling you, that's not how it works. You can't do that shit. Later on, as you're a billionaire, maybe, yes. You get stronger as you get better, so you'll be able to control yourself more. Um, but if you want to keep on thriving and keep growing in your business, even though probably some of you are going to be at hundreds or maybe millions of dollars a month, like you got to realize that you're going to need to, if you want to go to the next level, you're going to need to let go of these things. Let go of all these comfortable things that make you comfortable. Okay? Because your pain is always going to run from pain. and it's always going to be seeking comfort. Okay. So right now, if you're dealing with, distractions and you can't get off of watching things or you cannot focus for months and months on end, right? It's because your brain is wired for maximum short-term pleasure and minimum effort. Okay? So most of you, like what I've struggled in the past was I worked for weeks, months on end, and then I would just have a period of my life where I just binge watch TV shows or watch YouTube videos and get distracted. And then it's like I need to regain my focus, and it's not super easy. It's because like, shit gets hard in business, right? So you got to realize that, not at the highest levels where you're a billionaire or so on and so forth, have so much money that you can be comfortable, right? Or do whatever you want. Like, until then, you're gonna need to let go of comfort. And what I mean by that is let go of things that give you maximum short-term pleasure with minimum effort. And here's a fact. When you work on your business, okay, when you work on the tough shit in life, you get low dopamine, you get delayed gratification, and you have lots of friction. Okay, friction is how much effort you need to do. You have to put in lots of effort. When you watch TV shows or YouTube, you get high dopamine, you get instant gratification, so you don't need to wait. There's absolutely zero friction, which means you don't need to put in any effort. And here's the brutal part. The more you give yourself these things, like dopamine hits like YouTube, Netflix, the harder and more painful working becomes, which is why it's so hard for you to focus or read a book or whatever it may be. Because your brain adapts. It raises its pleasure baseline. And here's where it kicks in. It's really gonna make sense to you right here and now. So now, when it raises its pleasure baseline, normal hard work or just work feels boring, painful, meaningless, and exhausting. And by meaningless, I mean some of you are like, wow, like I have my own reason why I do this shit, why I wake up in the morning, but sometimes it's just you don't want to. Right? Even though you have a reason to do it, right? And a lot of you are like, you need to have a very big reason why you need to do it, right? Urgency can come from momentum, or urgency can come from literally like crazy things happening in life. Like you need to get this money or your family dies, right? Whatever it may be, you need to grow your business or your family is gonna die. Like things like that, it creates urgency, right? But most of you are not gonna have things like that, right? Because essentially you're borrowing motivation from things that are happening in life that are just, it's like, oh shit, if I don't do this now, we're done for. Like that's essentially borrowed motivation, right? And it's borrowed urgency. Um, and momentum is essentially borrowed. So in short, essentially, if right now work feels meaningless, it feels exhausting, it's like I don't want to do this, this sucks, why am I doing this? Why do I get out of bed? I can just, chill out a little bit. I don't need to push so hard. Um, right? All these things, in short, your pleasure or dopamine thermostat is broken. Okay? And let me make this clear. Every time you make a decision, you either feed the devil, which is the comfort and decay, okay? Or you feed the king, okay? Which is discipline and dominance, okay? There is no neutral. You're feeding one or the other every single day. So you cannot be like, oh, I'm gonna watch TV shows for 1 hour a day. And I'm gonna work. I'm telling you, like, for most of you guys, like, that's not gonna be the case. At least for me. For me, it was like it's all or nothing, right? It's either I don't watch it at all, or I watch it like 80% of the time and I work 20% of the time, right? That's why I work for months or weeks on end. And I would have that session where I just binge, or watch as much as I can for a short period of time, okay? Like for me, there was no neutral. And I want you to know that's the same thing for you. There's not going to be a neutral. You're going to be stuck, right? Where you're going to need to watch a lot of things. It's either you entirely cut it out, you burn the bridge, or you keep on getting distracted. Okay, so you got to pick one. You're feeding one or the other every day, okay? And one is not getting you closer to where you want to be, and the other one is, even though it's painful. So fast dopamine like YouTube, TikTok, Netflix short circuits that natural process. It skips the pain and effort. It injects pleasure instantaneously. So essentially, when you watch YouTube, TikTok, or Netflix, something that gives you like super quick dopamine, or some of you play video games, I don't know, whatever it may be, like, or watch Prawn, right? Another one. It skips that pain and effort part, and it short circuits that natural process of winning, and injects pleasure instantaneously. So some of you, I'm being real with you here, some of you have an addiction, okay? A dopamine addiction, um, right? And essentially momentum in your business when things are going well, right? I want you to know it's borrowed. When you feed the king for a prolonged period of time, momentum is created and you essentially borrow it. The moment you stop for a little bit is the moment you begin to stop rolling that boulder up the hill. And when you stop rolling that boulder up the hill, it gets way tougher to start pushing it again because it's momentum, right? Because it just pushes back on you entirely. So, in order to create urgency, momentum must be created. And when you create momentum in your business and things are going great, you create urgency. And it's like, I want to keep on pushing. I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. And you want to keep on winning, right? And essentially, urgency once again can come from other things, and motivation can be borrowed from crazy things that happen in life. So, what's affecting you right now? You still haven't burned the boats yet. You're still standing at the shore, and part of you is like, well, even, if it fails, or even if, I don't really grow too much, I don't get to the level that I want to, I can always just chill and watch shows, and I'll still have money, right? And that's essentially an escape hatch that you have open. And if you want to grow, if you want to get to the next levels, you cannot leave that hatch open anymore. You got to slam it shut and burn that fucking boat. Okay, because if you leave that option open of mediocrity, your brain is always going to go back to it when it's tired, scared, or frustrated. So most of your brains right now is wired for maximum short-term pleasure with minimum effort. So when you work once more, you get low dopamine, delayed gratification, lots of friction. Okay? And the more you give yourself to these quick dopamine hits, the harder and more painful working becomes. Okay, I think we actually went through this. Yeah. So that's why you're stuck in all or nothing. Either watch nothing or binge endlessly. One more episode loops, tiny work sessions followed by massive consumption binges, and feeling weak, guilty, and stuck. So I want you to know this is an addiction, bro. Not to substances. You're addicted to easy dopamine. And dopamine addiction is just as real as drugs, alcohol, prawn, or whatever you might be doing. It's not a willpower issue. It's not why you're doing it. It's not that you're lazy. It's not that you don't want it hard enough. It's not because you're weak. It's because you're trying to win a biological war in your brain without the right strategy. You're literally trying to watch it's like you're trying to fight your instincts. Right? It's like you're trying to fight your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind, from the research that I did, is like 20 million times more powerful, while your subconscious mind is just 20x powerful, while your subconscious is like 20 million times more powerful, or billion. I don't know, whatever it was. It was one or the other. So essentially, like, you're trying to fight a biological war, and then that shit is very hard to do. Okay? It's not easy. So essentially, whenever you do the shit that gives you easy dopamine, right? Without the pain, without without the gratification, like, if you're doing the things that give you instant gratification, right? Instant dopamine, um, it requires no effort, okay? Like, that thing is going to create a chemical imbalance in your mind that's going to prevent you from working. Okay? Like, it will literally create a chemical imbalance in your life that is going to prevent you from working hard and trying your best. Okay? Like, that's probably the reason why some of you cannot sit down, read a book. Some of you cannot sit down and focus because most of you are have a dopamine addiction. Most of your dopamine levels, like, sensors, they're fucked. They're messed up. And essentially, every single time you scroll through Instagram, watch YouTube, you are essentially messing up your dopamine since your dopamine receptor sensitivity. Okay? Every single time you're messing it up. That is why some of you aren't getting dopamine and getting that good, incredible feeling. I remember that one feeling of ecstasy where I was like on the edge. Business was about to I was about to fail in business. Well, my business was about to break. You can't fail in business. You just have to keep going. But I had a very hard time years and years ago. And it's like I had to get money from somebody and they didn't want to pay it. And I ended up getting it. Not by force, of course, by talking, because they owed that money to me. And I felt an incredible dopamine hit. And that dopamine hit wasn't for a minute. It wasn't for 5 minutes. It was for like 45 minutes to an hour. And that hit, it was like ecstasy in my life. It was like ecstasy. It felt like I was on drugs, literally. And essentially, like, I'm telling you right now, when you actually focus on doing the hard shit and you reset your dopamine levels and you do the shit that you don't want to do, and you let go of all these instant gratification, instant pleasures of life without any effort, like, when you get that ecstasy in business, like, oh my gosh, like, you just keep on winning. That is when you get like that abundance mindset of just keep on winning, you keep on winning, you don't stop, right? So that's the way that it works, okay? So I want you to know that most of you are having a chemical imbalance in your mind, and you have to essentially pick one or the other. Because every single time you watch that show, it breaks that dopamine receptor. And it's like why, and your brain is biologically essentially it's programmed, wired in a way where it's like, why should I work so hard on my business or on whatever I'm doing when instead I can literally just watch a show and I get it quickly, right? So I want you to know dopamine itself is not bad. You're supposed to get dopamine because dopamine is your brain's way of rewarding you for the things that help you survive and thrive. For example, hunting and catching food, it gives you dopamine hit. Building shelter, dopamine hit. Successful business, um, when it wins in businesses, right? Dopamine hit. Forming relationships or community, dopamine hit. Learning new survival skills or whatever it may be, dopamine hit. Basically, dopamine evolved to reward hard effort. Okay, that is the way it works. It has evolved to reward hard effort that leads to meaningful rewards in life. So the way that you are naturally programmed to have dopamine is to go through pain, put in the effort, then you get the reward, and then you get the dopamine. That is the natural cycle humans were designed to live in. Now, the unnatural process that is created by short circuiting that natural process is when you get the fast dopamine. But when you watch YouTube, TikTok, or Netflix, it skips the pain and effort. It injects pleasure instantly. Okay? No friction, no work, no effort, just dopamine. It short circuits the natural processes. And that is why you can't focus. That is why you're like, it's either I'm doing it entirely or I'm not doing it at all. So your brain is like, wait, I can feel amazing without doing any of the hard shit, without even moving, without even risking anything or putting my life on the line. And over time, this rewires your brain to start craving only activities that require no friction. Anything that has a delay, like building a business, feels exhausting, boring, or not worth it. And you feel weaker, slower, more helpless because your thermostat is breaking because your brain adapts. When you blast your brain with constant high speed dopamine, it lowers the natural sensitivity of your dopamine receptors, which means normal pleasures like a walk, once again, real conversation, deep work session, and a great meal feel flat. So you chase even more extreme stimulation to feel the same pleasure. This is called dopamine desensitization. Desensitization. It's exactly what happens to drug addicts, okay? So just with content instead of heroin, okay? That's the way that it works. So the real dopamine hits from hard-earned rewards are the ones that you're supposed to crave. I want you to know, like, pain now, pleasure later. And we have the other one, pleasure now, pain later. And one has earned dopamine and one has instant dopamine. Right? Hunting, working, building, suffering gives you the reward. Okay, and that gives you that is painful now, but it gives you a ton of pleasure and you actually are successful later. Right? It has deep pleasure. Like seriously, like you have that feeling of ecstasy. It has that meaning. It gives you a little bit of pride, gives you self-love. It strengthens discipline, builds capacity for bigger goals, and it's natural and it has healthy cycles. While when you open your phone, you get rewarded in 2 seconds. It is shallow pleasure. You don't really feel it. You just feel it for a little bit. You get regret, you get emptiness, you get a broken business, you fail. It destroys discipline. Okay, and I want you to know discipline is built, right? It's built and it can be destroyed. It shrinks your ability to do hard things in life. It's a natural and has addictive cycles. And that's the way that it works. So, for example, if you worked your ass off and went to Mykonos and you went to a Mykonos steakhouse and there was a fire show, like you'd feel real pleasure. You'd be like, wow, this is incredible. Because you earned that pleasure. That's the dopamine, like that's the way the dopamine was designed to be delivered. You earn it through effort, through pain, through growth. And when you receive it, it feels like, once again, ecstasy. It feels like a drug. Like I really hope some of you get to experience it in life because I'll be honest with you, like I can still remember that feeling. Like it was like the craziest ecstasy I've had in my life. And I'm gonna have it again because I'm just gonna focus on it more. And I'm not just gonna work for weeks or months. I'm gonna work for years. And when that feeling of ecstasy comes, I'm just gonna enjoy it. Okay? Because it's gonna be beautiful. It's gonna be fulfilling. It's not gonna be hollow or empty. So in short answers, fast dopamine, YouTube or anime binges or TV show binges, whatever you might be doing, unnatural, yes. Is it bad for you? Or even video games? It's bad, right? Yes, it literally damages your ability to feel pleasure naturally. It is why you're stuck in an all or nothing behavior. Okay? That is why. Because your brain swings between overstimulation and collapse. And the deep truth that you need to accept is you have to earn dopamine. You shouldn't be hijacking it or breaking your dopamine thermostat. Business is supposed to feel hard. Winning should feel slow sometimes. Work should feel boring sometimes. Life isn't supposed to be 24/7 pleasure machines. The true kings of life are the ones who earn pleasure after long sessions of pain, after long seasons of pain, work, and sacrifice. And right now, if you guys are reading this and listening and went all the way through this boring ass fucking video, excuse me for my language, right now, most of you are going to see this invisible war. I want you to know most people will never see it. And they're going to stay zombies until they die. So, with that said, you can take this information as you want to. I hope it was valuable to you because I really wanted to share this lesson. It took me years to realize, and that when I woke up, I was like, I have to put this in a document. I have to. Because after years and years and years of like this happening, it finally hit. If you want to go to the next level and you're dealing with this is what you must do. It's either you're living in pain and deep ecstasy of winning by giving up that instant gratification and instant pleasure, or you live a mediocre lifestyle, you run a mediocre business, and you don't grow to the levels that you want to. You live with regret. Like keep on watching that dopamine hitting things like YouTube or video games, whatever you might be doing nowadays, or TV shows, or scrolling on Instagram or YouTube Reels. So what I recommend is get rid of that, delete it, log out, delete the app, delete it entirely, put an app blocker. I don't care what you have to do, get rid of it because it won't serve your growth. It will stall you for as much as it can, and that's the devil. That's truly the devil. Okay, so fix it, start working on it, take steps. Don't expect to make this long jump and never want it again. No, like I'm telling you, when shit is going good in your business, when things are going great, most of you are gonna be like, okay, I can watch a little bit of YouTube now. I can watch a TV show now. I'm winning in life. That is when you fucking don't, that is when you fucking run away from it. That is where the devil grabs you. Because that's a fucking lie. Once again, apologies for swearing so much, but that's a lie. That's the devil lying to you. When things are going well in your business, you shouldn't just go back to doing what you were doing before. Because if you think you're gonna quit your habits by focusing on your business for months or maybe a year, like I'm telling you, it's either you're in or out. You cannot be one foot in, one foot out. You can't. You need to pick a side that you want to be. It's either you're living life on a fast lane, you go through pain, you go through delayed gratification, you go through the tough, painful shit in life, and then you get rewarded for it tremendously, and you get that ecstasy in life, and you no longer watch these TV shows, you no longer fuck off, or you watch YouTube videos, you watch TV shows, you play video games, you, I don't know, watch porn or like whatever you might be doing that is giving you that instant pleasure. And you live a life full of regret and you don't live up to your potential. It's either one or the other. You cannot pick both here. You can't get both. You have to pick one or the other. So choose the life that you want to live. It's either you're fully in or you half foot in, half foot out. Okay? And live below your means. So I really hope that this video is gonna hit most of you and most of you are gonna understand what's happening in your life. Best of luck to you guys.